Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Battle Inside podcast. My name is Chris America. This is, I think, episode 21, and gonna be my last episode. Um, yeah, I just can't do this anymore. I'm just done. Just done. Um, been doing this show for about 4 months now, and it's done me no good. I've said multiple times it's done me good, but it really hasn't. Really just today I'm just going back on everything I said. I'm going back to the way I was, the way I've always handled things. Which is just shove it all down inside, build up my wall, get inside my safe house, and just hide away. Today I hit an anger stage. Actually, let me take it back. The last few days over the weekend, I've been doing the hiding and not thinking about it, compartmentalizing it. It took a break. It took like a 3 or 4 day break. Excuse me, I drank some alcohol. Just ignored it. Didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to think about it. Didn't want to deal with it. And life was good. Life was peaceful. It wasn't great. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. And I'm ready to go back to that now. I let myself feel again. I let myself think again. I let the grief come in again, and I went straight into anger stage. And my anxiety and my anger grew together. And just started really thinking about everything that's happened to me in the last 4 months. And the anger grew, and the anger grew, and the anger grew until I finally just did what I know I shouldn't have done. Made the mistake. First, I felt very suicidal. I just wanted to die to shut it up. I wanted a gun so I could just pull the trigger into my brain and have the bullet fly through it and just shut everything up and just finally silence me and just stop all of it. I didn't necessarily want to die per se. I just wanted it to end. I just wanted the anger and the hurt and the frustration and the worthlessness to all end. But it's not going to end that way. That's not good. I can't leave my son without a father. And so I had nowhere for this anger to go. And so I made my second biggest mistake. One was thinking about suicide, and the other one was calling Jen, the ex. And throughout that conversation of me yelling a lot, yelled at her quite a bit. Because again, I'm angry. I'm in the anger stage of grief, or at least for today I am. My mom's dead. My ex-wife is gone, and I no longer get to see my stepson. My son has been hurting for the last 4 months, and no matter how much therapy I take him to, he's still hurting. I'm still hurting. None of this is working. Me sharing my thoughts, sharing my feelings has done nothing to improve my life. My biggest episodes with by far the most listeners are when people want to come hear me talk about how I wanted to kill myself, and when people wanted to hear me talk about how my ex-wife left me for another man who was married, who was in some sort of contract agreement where he gets to go and cheat on his wife, but I guess it's not cheating if he has permission from her, and he can do whatever he wants, and so he convinces my wife to flirt with him. Or maybe she convinced him to flirt with her. Don't know, don't care. Either way, Chris America wasn't part of that plan. And so I gave her an ultimatum that day, back on Thursday, sometime before the weekend of the 1st. And she chose him. She chose to keep him in his life, and she chose to keep me out of her life. And then she proceeded to make my life a living hell by being rude to me, by treating me like I'm a piece of shit in my own home, by basically just acting like she didn't love me anymore. I went from being married in January to I no longer want to be with you. I fell out of love with you. I'm not happy with you. Sorry I made the mistake of marrying you. You're done. And so you guys have followed it, who have listened for all 4 months, and have seen my struggles, and have seen my pain, and have heard me grieve, and have listened to all of your advice that Chris, grieving takes its own time, and blah, 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 blah. But then there's most of you who say, Chris, you got to stop talking about her. You got to stop thinking about her. You got to stop doing this. You got to stop doing that. Well, which is it? Is it I got to stop, or I got to let the grieving process go and it has its own time limit? And then I put good, positive vibes into the universe. I talk about peace. I talk about forgiveness. I talk about love. I talk about not having anger control you. I talk about not having your walls. I talk about regrets not getting you. I'm putting all of this positive energy, and I start to turn a corner, and she comes back, and I get a new position in my job, and things are looking great. And Chris, look, it's paying off. No, it's not. It's just setting me up to fail again. That's what the universe is doing. That's what it's always done my whole life. It sets me up to fail. And so I continue this show. I continue to share. I continue to express. The listeners, they go up, they go down. Nobody talks to me. Only my friends. They're being friends. But none of the other listeners, none of the other hundreds of listeners ever message me. No emails, no direct messages on Twitter, nothing. And then when it comes time to announce that my wife cheated on me and told you about Juan and his business, I get all kinds of crap. And of course, then she falsely accuses me of domestic violence injunction, which today she said she didn't falsely accuse me. I was stalking her. Even though I don't follow her, I don't call her, I don't contact her, but because I told my pain on a show and I told the world what happened and I talk about her on the show because I'm trying to tell my story that she's a part of, I'm stalking her. And by the way, why is she out of my life now, she tells me today? Because I gave her the ultimatum back when I sent her the email and I said, you owe me this epic apology or please don't bother. And so she chose the please don't bother because she's not going to give me the epic apology because, damn it, I'm not worth it to her. Plain and simple. Right? And you see the memes on Facebook and you see the memes on Twitter and Instagram or wherever other social medias that people will show you your value to them by how they treat you and what actions they take in your life. And I agree with that. And her value to me is jack shit. That's what I found out today. That it's my fault she left. It's my fault she's no longer in my life. It's my fault that she went and had to go get the domestic violence injunction. And it's my fault she's not here for me when my mother is dead. And I'm grieving her loss. And I'm sitting at a table in my mom's empty house the other night, 2 nights ago, by myself, lonely as hell, eating my steak and my asparagus. 8 months ago, I got married. 8 months ago, I was told that she loved me. 8 months ago, I was told that she's going to be there for me for the rest of my life. 8 months ago, I was told that she's going to grow old with me. 8 months ago, she promised to work on things no matter how hard they get, that she's never going to give up on me. And here I am 8 months later with a dead mother and nobody around. No wife. And so I let the get to me, and my anger kept festering, and I kept screaming and yelling, and finally she hung up on me, which is fine. I deserved it because I was a madman. And so I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I'm just done. I'm done with the show, and I'm done pretending that I can get better, or that I can heal my traumas, or that somehow if I do enough positive things will come my way. It just doesn't work out for me, and I'm done. I'm going to go back. I'm going to build my mansion back up. I'm going to put up my high walls, and I'm going to go back in my safe space. I'm going to go back where it's safe. I'm not going to care about her. I'm not going to care about anybody else. I'm going to care about my son. I'm going to care about my family. I'm going to care about those who choose to be in my life. But if you come and go, I'm not going to care anymore. I'm not going to try. I'm done chasing people, for sure. And I know what you're going to say, like, Chris, all women aren't like this. It's just her. No, it's not. It's every woman I've ever been with. Count on how many fingers you can see that are lined up right now to be here for me. All the women who've told me they love me. All the women that told me they promised to be with me. All the women that told me this and that. You know what Jen told me? People just fall out of love. And that's it. That's the explanation of our relationship failing, is she just fell out of love. No grief for me. No sadness. No anguish. The only time she's hurt for me is when I told her and the world that she cheated on me and she left me to go chase down a married man. That's the only time she felt hurt for me. And it wasn't hurt for me, it was hurt for herself. She felt anger to me. And it's not that every woman's like this. I don't believe that. That's ignorant. But what my problem is, and why I will never ever get into a relationship again, forget that. I'm done. The reason why is not because all women are like that. It's because I can't tell you all apart. I can't tell who's serious and who's not. Because my last two girlfriends, each I came to them or they came to me when my parent died, and all they did was offer condolences and one time only of listening to me, and then they're gone. Even though during the relationship, even though right at the beginning of the relationship, I said, don't tell me you love me, please. Do not tell me you love me unless you actually mean it. Unless you mean that I'm going to love you for the rest of your life. And not love you in the sense of I'm going to be in a relationship with you for the rest of your life, but that I'm going to love you and care about you and be a part of your life as long as you're good to me. And I damn sure made that clear to Jen. Don't get to meet my son, and you don't get to tell me you love me, and you don't get to tell me you're going to be here for me always unless you mean it. That I don't want just a relationship, I want a friendship and a love that lasts the rest of my life. I don't want a relationship that lasts the rest of my life. I'm not going to force you into that box, but don't tell me you love me unless you're going to love me for the rest of your life. And Jen made that promise to me. In fact, I remember the first time she said she loved me. We were in bed. She was on top of me. She grabbed a hold of me and she whispered, I'm going to say something and you're going to have to listen to it because I need to tell it to you. And I know you don't trust me, but you have to trust me. And I'm going to say it anyways. And don't say anything. I don't want you to say anything. Just hear me out and just try to take it in. I love you. And for 3 years, it was that. It was, I love you, Chris. I'm not going anywhere. I know that other people have told you that. I'm not going to break your promises. I love your son like he's my own. Look, I care for him. I sometimes care for him more than you care for him because I help him with his math, and I care about his schoolwork, and I care about his mental health. And then the same thing when we got married. 2 months, November, December. Chris, I get you're scared, but we should get married because one, it helps us out financially, and two, we love each other, and I'm here for you. And I know that you don't want to get married again because you've been married twice, and I know that's a fear of yours, but Chris, I'm not going anywhere. I'm always going to be here for you. But you see, when people say I love you, and I don't know if it's this day and age or not, I don't know, I don't care because I wasn't alive 50 years ago. But I know that today, Jen is the majority of people who say, hey man, I love you for now. We'll see how I feel a month from now. And if I fall out of love with you, I have the right to break every single promise I ever made to you. I never made Jen promise that she will always be in a relationship with me. I would never make somebody promise that because I know it's not realistic. Shit happens. People grow apart. I get that. What I wanted from her was a promise that when my mom dies at any moment's notice, that she would fucking look at me like I'm a goddamn motherfucking person that's to be respected and cared for and be there for me because she loves me. Or that when she starts to flirt with another guy and I catch her, that she gives me the goddamn respect to stop talking to him and figure stuff out. Or she respects and loves me enough to go see a counselor. Or to go get therapy. Or to take more than a damn week to take her time to end this relationship and to tear apart this family. And so I'm just done. I'm done because Jen has lived the life. She's lived her life in ignorance. She gets to cheat on me. She gets to leave me for another man. She gets to chase down another man. She gets to make out with another man. She gets to tell me how great her life is without me. Multiple times how much better her life is without me. She gets to tell me that her life is better without me and that it was the best decision she's ever made. It's the right decision she's ever made. She gets to tell me that that it proved to her that we're not meant to be together because I'm sharing my feelings and I'm feeling my anger and I'm sharing my hurt and I'm sharing my pain and I haven't moved on yet. That's what proved to her that I'm not the right person for her. And so while I'm living 4 months of hell and anguish, she's living the time of her life. She has her parents. She has her sister. She just got back from a nice world trip around the world. You know where I was at? I was at home watching my mom die or finding my mom dead. I was supposed to be in Colorado with Jen. Instead, she took the time not to go to Colorado, to go on another plane trip, to go somewhere else around the world. Don't know where she went. Don't care. I know she was with her sister through Facebook, through her sister's Facebook. Somehow I'm still friends with her. Don't know why. But I'm sitting here finding my mother dead, and she's off having a grand old time. She gets to do shitty things to me, and life goes good for her. And I try to do good things for me and good things for other people, and my life turns to more and more and more shit. And my son's life gets to be more and more shit, and he gets to hurt. She gets flowers from the mothers in her running group telling her how awesome of a mother she is. She has her friend tell her, don't worry about the kids. Think about your happiness. And she gets fucking flowers for being a good mother, for thinking about her happiness before her own or before the sake of her own children, which is what she did. Don't care if you like it or not. You're a shitty mother if you only take a week to decide and you chase down a married man instead of thinking about your kids. You're a shitty fucking mom. And I know this because my mom would never have done that to me or my sister. My mom would have always put herself behind us. She would always put us first. Now, that doesn't mean she would put herself first to her own detriment, but she would always make sure that she did the right thing for us and not the right thing for her own fleeting happiness. And so I'm done with the podcast. I said I'll do this podcast as long as I'm helping others and as long as I'm helping myself. Well, this ain't helping me. It's just doing more and more bad to my life. It's turned my life to shit, and it's not helping any of you guys other than my friends. So if you want me to talk about how shitty my life is, hit me up in my DMs. I'll message you. For the rest of you who listen that are strangers that have never reached out, guess I'm not helping you because none of you want to take the time to say, good job, Chris, or I'm here for you, or I'm in your corner, or I got your back. Well, Jen gets to run around with her friends after she ruined and fucking wrecked my name with domestic violence charges, and they all know it, but they still like her Facebook pages. They still congratulate her. She still gets to live this joyful and happy life. Everybody gets to tell me how to live my life and tell me how to deal with my grief and give me life advice and everything else, but nobody tells her to stop being a shitty person and come to me for forgiveness. And so I'm just done. I'm going to go back to my quiet little hole, and I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, and I'm not going to put myself out there again. Because any one of you women who want to come into my life and tell me that you love me, and you're here for me always, and you're never going anywhere, I heard it all before. And I'm sorry, but I can't tell you apart from the Jens of the world and the other yous of the world who actually mean it and follow through with it. And I can't put my son's heart at risk, and I can't put my heart at risk anymore. It's just not worth it. The last 3 years of happiness that I got from Jen wasn't worth it. I should have never said, I'll get into a relationship with you. I should have never said I'll marry you. I should have never moved in with her. I should have never gotten close with her. I should have banged her for the few times that she was good for, and I should have left. That's what I should have done. Because then I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have been there counting pills on August 6th or April 6th. I wouldn't be going through the grief of losing a marriage and losing a child and losing a family while my mom dies. I would have been fine being single, and I could have handled that grief all on its own by itself. Instead, now I get to handle all of these griefs all on its own, and it could have been avoidable. So the only way to avoid the grief of loss of another fucking relationship is to never get into one again. I don't care what you say about how happy, how sad that is, whatever. I don't give a shit anymore. Nobody is allowed in. This door is closed. It is shut. My heart is guarded, and only Landon gets in, and my family gets in, and that's it. Nobody else. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. Maybe that's not fair. But you know what's not fair? Is me living through hell for 4 months. Is me calling somebody over and over and over again, telling them I will forgive you and I love you, and that means jack shit to them. And I don't mean call them over and over again, because that's not what I did. It's not. This was like the second time I've called her in the 4 months. This is one of the very few times that I'm the first one to create conversation with her. Because I was angry that she's not here for me. That I'm going to go to my mom's funeral, someone who was a part of her life, someone who was a part of her son's life, somebody who went to her son's things more than her own parents did, someone who's gone to his karate things and scout things more than his own father has. And she can't say enough to say, I'm sorry, Chris, I want to be there for you, and I want to be at the funeral, and I want to be there to honor your mother, and I want Nicholas to be there to honor your mother, because your mother loved him just like she loved Landon. Was it perfect? No. None of us were perfect with this. But that doesn't mean she didn't love him and didn't do for him and wasn't there for him and wasn't there to tell her or tell Nicholas that she was proud of him for his karate belt and wasn't there to tell him that she was proud of him for his Cub Scout ranking. Because you know who wasn't there? His dad wasn't there. His grandparents weren't there. Your parents weren't there. Your sisters weren't there. Or your sister wasn't there. None of them were there, but my mom was there to congratulate your son. And you can sit there and tell me that it's because Landon was there, fine. But I guarantee you I know my mom. I know her better than anybody on this goddamn planet. And if you would have said, Nicholas is graduating, I would like you to be there, my mom would have been there. If you would have said, Nicholas has a wrestling tournament, my mom would have been there. And if you would have said, Nicholas has a karate belt promotion with Landon not there, and you would have invited her, she would have been there, and she would have told your son how proud she is of him. And it didn't matter if she lived in the Villages. It didn't matter if she lives in Tallahassee. It wouldn't matter if she lived in Boston. If she could have been there, she would have been there. For your son. And so I'm done. None of you can tell me anything that Jen didn't tell me. That Jen didn't promise me. And you know what all of you are also capable of saying? Well, I only meant it then, I don't mean it now. I can't control other people's feelings. I can't control what people say to me. But I can control how I receive them and what I do with them. And what I'm choosing to do now with all of you who say you love me and you're here for me and you're always going to be here for me, I will hear you and I will hear you at what you say, but you are going to be kept at a distance. And you will never have entry into my heart, and you will never have entry into my house, and you will never have access to my son. Because I am not going through this for the 5th or 6th or 7th time. This is my 3rd goddamn divorce and 2nd marriage that only lasted less than 6 months. Four months is what it took. 4 months and a fucking shoe store owner is all it took to make somebody realize that I wasn't fucking worth it. To show what my real true value was. To show that I had absolutely zero impact on her life. I see all these stupid fucking memes that say, get you a man who's good in bed and listens to you and cares about you and holds you when you're crying and makes you dinner and cleans after you and takes care of you when you're sick and all this other stuff. Find yourself a man and don't let him go. Well, I am that fucking man. I'm the man that's carried her out of 2 bars when she's fucking puking all over her guts and fucking sick as hell. I've been in the hospital for multiple surgeries, been by her bedside, waited on her hand and foot with or without illnesses, made her dinners, cleaned dishes after I made dinners, after a long, hard day work. I listened to her. I held her every time she cried. I held her every single breakdown, every single failure of racing, every single failure of running. I was the guy who was there for her. I was great in bed. She said so herself. I had a big heart. I cared for her son. I was there for her son way more than his father was, way more than his grandfather was, way more than his grandmother was, and way more than his aunt was. And if you're mad at me for saying that, if you're any of these people listening, well, go fuck yourself and be there more for him. And so maybe I won't be able to say it. And leave your goddamn excuses at the door. Because none of you are there for Nicholas. Not a single fucking one of you are there for Nicholas. You aren't at his karate, you aren't at his scouts, and you aren't at his concerts. You aren't there. You know who is? This guy was for the last 3 years. You know who's taking him to practice when Jen had too much of a headache, or she got up too early and ran 15 fucking miles at 3:30 in the morning, and so she was too tired to take her own son to his own karate practice because running comes first? This guy was. Do you know who accepted Jen for exactly the way she was? For exactly every single flaw she had, and loved her and was patient with her. Even though we had our fights, I was still patient with her. I still forgave her for every single time. I was still always there for her. She never once didn't know what it was like to feel loved by me. She didn't once didn't know what it was like to feel cared for or paid attention to. But no, none of that fucking matters because I don't have a college degree, I don't make money, and I have depression, and I don't clean up my fucking dishes all the way, and she's fucking annoyed by me. And so she's done, and all that's all it takes to be out of love. Oh, and then add in the fact that I'm suicidal a bunch of times in the past, and I'm open about my feelings, and then I share to the world that she cheated on me because I'm hurting. So again, I'm sorry, but I'm done. I'm shutting the show down. I clearly have not helped out anybody. Do you know the last time I got an email from a stranger telling me that I helped them? It's been almost 3 months. And you all show up for my suicidal episode. You all show up for the crazy drama of, cheating and businesses and this guy over here and a best friend over there and this other guy over here. Y'all show up for that shit. But then you disappear when I get into just regular, normal, mundane, my life sucks. And then when my mom dies, ain't none of you show up for that episode. 200 listens within 2 weeks for the cheating episode. I'm still at 88 for the episode where I talk about my mom dying and my grief for that. So if you don't care, I don't care. Because the show's not helping me anymore. And like I said, the only people that come to me and send me messages of encouragement and that I'm doing good and that the show is helping them are my friends. And they can text me anytime they want and I'll help them. And none of y'all in that running community had my back, and none of y'all in that running community had my corner, because none of y'all gave her the advice of you need to get your life together, you need to go get help, and you need to go apologize to Chris and get your head out of your ass. None of you said that. You just like her posts, you show up at her runs, you cheer her on, you do your morning runs with her, and you run with somebody who cheats, you run with somebody who lies, you run with somebody who puts herself before her own kids, and you run with somebody who makes up lies. And here's another thing she told me today. She said she only said the Baker Act thing. She only said she was suicidal to manipulate me to get me to take the podcast down. That is who you're running with. Somebody who will say, I want to kill myself just to work and tug at the heartstrings and manipulate me, a person who cares. She knows I'm a person who cares. She knows I'm a person who loves. And so she manipulates me by telling me she wants to commit suicide. She admitted that today. But that's the only reason why she talked about suicide, is because she wanted me to take the podcast down because she was desperate. That's the person you're hanging out with and that you call friend. Oh, congratulations. You can have her. I don't want you as my friend. I don't want somebody who comes to me and goes to her and think we're equal, because we're not. You don't have my back and you're not in my corner if you can go and hang out with her and not once tell her she needs to get her life together, and not once tell her she needs to apologize to me, and not once tell her that I didn't deserve any of the bullshit she did. Because I guarantee you what, I do deserve an apology. I'll kick worthless Chris's ass out of here right now. I do deserve an apology. I do deserve to be appreciated, and I do deserve to have Nicholas in my life. And I deserve her to work her fucking ass off to get it. And Landon deserves it too. Landon deserves an apology from Jen. Landon deserves an apology from her friend. Landon deserves an apology from Juan for being all fucking shitbags who make him cry at night. For being the reasons why he's at fucking counseling and therapy. Thank you, Jen. Glad you can just send my fucking son to therapy. That's the solution to your problems. Is just fucking send the kid to therapy so I can go chase a married guy. And so this is what the show's become, is just me bitching about Jen and me bitching about Jen and blah, blah, blah. So I'm done. I'm not helping out anybody. I'm throwing mud. I'm doing what I said I wasn't going to do. So I'm done. So if you want or thinking about killing yourself, don't do it. It's stupid. Just build a house. Do whatever you want, man. Just don't kill yourself. It's not cool. National Suicide Hotline. Of course I'm not ready. All right, it's 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. You can text home to 731-731. Home to 731-731. That's also a helpline. You can still email me. If you decide you want to kill yourself, I will help you through that. I will tell you that it's not worth it. I'll tell you that nobody's worth it. That there's multiple ways you can go about life without feeling suicidal and get help. And I'll tell you to get help. I don't know if I'll continue therapy. All I know is this is what's going to happen to my instant future. I'm going to go to my mom's funeral, and I'm going to lay her to rest, and I'm going to give her the eulogy that she deserves. And then I'm going to go to my family's party, and I'm probably going to cry my fucking eyes out. I'm probably going to cry hard because the most important woman in my life is gone. While I'm stuck with fucking Jen telling me how unimportant I am. Telling me how worthless I am. That when she was left with the ultimatum to give me the epic apology or be out of my life, she chose to get out of my life. When she's left with the decision to either keep me in her life or Juan in her life, she picks Juan. 3-4 months after she got married to me, 5 months after she got married to me, she decided that Landon and me weren't worth an epic apology. That we weren't worth her going to marriage counseling to reconcile our friendship and our relationship, not the relationship part of romantic, but you know what I mean. So I'm done. I can't trust any of you guys. I'm done being people's trauma lapdogs. I'm done being that person that magnets, that like brings in people of toxicity or brings in people of hurt and need, and so they sponge off of me and my kindness and my care and my love, and then when they're healed and they finally got their life together and they feel like they don't need me anymore, then I'm just dropped like a bad habit. I'm done. I'm done. So I'm sorry if you're not that person, but all of you are that person to me now. All of you. Because that's all I know. As far as a relationship goes, that's all I know. That is my exact worth in a relationship. To be that guy of your dreams that does and says everything you want him to do, and then when you're done with that need and you're done with me, my flaws are no longer bearable for you. My flaws and my mistakes just aren't good enough, or they're too much for you. And the rest of me just doesn't matter. The big heart, the caring for your kids, the love, the great sex, whatever it is, all the stuff that you women say you want. I'll just keep you at a distance. I'll help you out. I'll give you whatever you think you need, but I'm not going to fall in love with you. I'm not going to let you in. You can get what you need from me and then move on, please. At least I'll know that I'm being used, and I'm okay with it as long as I know. But don't promise me you're going to be here for me. Don't promise me you're going to love me forever. Don't promise me that no matter what happens, you're always going to be in my life to support me, and that you love me for me as a person, just stop. If you're one of those people that just believes that, hey man, I'm loving now, but shit happens 3 years from now, I'm out. Stay the fuck away from me. I'll just keep my friends and relatives close. Sorry, this is the last episode.